I closed over 771 agency clients and collected $5 million in cash in the most saturated niche in the entire agency space. And there was one simple client acquisition strategy that allowed me to do that. And if you can make it until the end of this video without getting distracted, I am going to show you what that strategy is and how you can use it in your agency. And I'm so confident that it's going to get results for you that if it doesn't, you can message me on Instagram and I will personally apologize for wasting your time. So let's dive in. So as I said, I was able to achieve some pretty cool stuff with my agency, and there was really one principle that made it all work, and it's called trust engineering. And really, what you're doing right now, likely, if you're not seeing success with your agency, is you're switching tactics, you're bouncing around in new scripts, you're jumping around from cold email to DMs to ads, you're trying every acquisition strategy that you possibly can to get clients. Maybe you've even switched niches. But the one thing that actually matters, the thing that allowed me to get results with my agency, was having a good offer, building trust with my ideal prospects and my ideal clients, and then signing those clients. It's a combination of the two. And if you don't have a good offer and you don't have trust with your ICP, your ideal client profile, no tactic, channel, or niche will ever work for you. You maybe wonder why some scripts or some sales processes work for some agency owners, and then you try those same things and they don't work. It's likely because of one of these two things, or maybe a combination of both. Either your offer stinks or you're not building trust with your potential clients. And I'm going to show you how to fix it. So you're likely doing outbound in order to get clients. I personally love outbound. We closed 771 clients. We eventually got a really good paid strategy going. And I'll be honest, once you get paid going, it's kind of hard to want to do anything else because you just put $1 into the Facebook machine and it gives you back $5 like instantly. But our first 100 clients were closed all through outbound. And the thing that we did differently with outbound that I kind of thought everyone did, but most people are not doing, is you're actually treating outbound the same as you treat inbound. So the example that I always like to give is, imagine if a friend introduces you to a lovely lady. You have an inbound kind of referral. Your friend has introduced you to this lovely lady. She already has a lot of trust for you because your friend pre-sold you already. So her trust for you is already at like 80%. The things that women kind of worry about men is like, is this guy weird? Is this guy not going to leave me alone? Is he a stalker? Is he crazy? Because your friend introduced you and pre-sold you, she knows that you're probably not going to be a crazy person. But if it's outbound, if you walk up to a woman at the bar, it's completely cold. We put 10% trust level, but it's probably like 0% trust level. You have to earn every ounce of attention and you have to build trust before the woman at the bar is going to get comfortable with you. Now, a lot of you guys are thinking, I close referrals or I close people that I know, because a lot of people start with people that they know, of course. They think that that same approach is going to work when it comes to cold prospects. But the thing that you're missing there is trust. You kind of think that with outbound, once you get case studies, you'll be good, or maybe even that you'll just offer free trials. I felt this way with my own agency. Okay. When I got my first case study, I felt like, wow, now I'm going to close so many more deals because I lost so many deals in the past by prospects telling me, oh, if you have a case study, I'll sign up. And then I got that case study, and for whatever reason, people didn't just automatically sign up because the case study alone doesn't build trust. So one thing that you have to be very conscious of, and something that very few people actually understand, is Eugene Schwartz's 5 levels of awareness. And this really explains why prospects ignore you. If you need to take a screenshot of this, I would highly recommend that you do, because you really need to understand this if you're going to have any kind of success marketing either for your clients or for yourself. So the lowest level of awareness is fully unaware. They are completely unaware that they have a problem or that there is even solutions out there to that problem. The next level down is problem aware. So they know something is wrong, but they don't know really what the solution is. The next thing is solution aware, meaning they know they have a problem and they know there's solutions out there, but they don't necessarily know which one to go with or which one is the best. The next is product aware. So somebody is actually aware of your product already, but they just haven't decided. And then the most aware is basically sold. People are just ready to act now. So I'll give you an example for my business. This is going to sound like a pitch, but it's not. You are likely an agency owner or somebody that is wanting to start an agency by watching this video. So that means automatically you're probably here because likely you have a problem getting clients, right? And that's why you're watching the video. Now, you probably know that there's solutions out there to solve your client acquisition problem, but because there's a lot, right? There's a lot of people that are running ads and saying they have this new system or that new system. You're not really sure which one makes sense, okay? Maybe you're aware that John Danes, the person whose video you're watching right now, has a mastermind called agencyclients.com, but you're not quite sure if you want to work with me or not. And now you might be the rare person who's watching this right now and says, John, I absolutely love everything you're saying. I'm ready to be a client like yesterday. And so that's kind of the levels of awareness in action, just taking our example right now, you and me making this video for you and you watching this video, going down from the lowest to the highest. Now, the problem is, okay, if you are completely unaware, I cannot treat you like you are already product aware. If you are unaware that your agency has a client acquisition problem, I can't come in and give you my product and my offer to tell you that I can solve that problem because you're not even aware that you have it yet. And that's why I have to do a really good job of actually making you aware that you even have this problem in the first place. So realistically, most cold outreach is gonna land right here in the problem aware stage. So you're pitching your solution to someone who isn't even sold on the problem yet. And moving someone through these levels is all about building trust and building awareness because those two things go hand in hand. You really can't separate them. So the problem with outbound prospecting in general is there is no marketing, okay? So as an example, if you're doing marketing, your marketing in a lot of ways is going to educate someone on their problem. But when you're doing outbound prospecting, you're kind of just sending someone a message and then they're getting on a call with you, or sending someone an email and they're getting on a call with you. There's really no marketing and awareness on the problem that the person has that the prospect is receiving, right? They don't even really know because they're not being educated like they would with traditional marketing. So that means with an outbound lead, somebody that you book a call with from outbound, whether cold email or messenger or whatever it is, you have to work a lot harder to first educate them on the problem and actually make sure they understand that they have a problem before you're ever going to be able to pitch your solution. A lot of people are going straight into the call, assuming the prospect knows they have a problem already, and then pitching them on the solution when in reality, the prospect doesn't even know they have a problem, as crazy as that might sound. But this is a lot of the reason why sales are lost so much through outbound, is because it's not because the outbound leads are bad. That's a big misconception, by the way. People think, well, people with outbound are less qualified. No, it's because you're actually treating the people from outbound the wrong way because you don't understand the 5 levels of awareness. I'll give you another example, one that I really like, peptides. I really hope this video doesn't get in trouble for me mentioning peptides. But peptides are all the rage right now, especially among young men, right? I'm in my mid-20s, and everybody's talking about peptides. You need to get on peptides. And people have even told me that I need to take peptides for whatever reason. And the reason that I haven't taken them, even though like a lot of people that I know are taking them and there's a lot of content out there about them, is because I haven't really been educated or made aware on why I need them. So I'm not really problem aware. I don't know, maybe because of ignorance or maybe because it doesn't exist. It could be one of the two. I don't know what problem I have right now in my life that peptides might solve. I feel like most of my fitness goals can be achieved by exercising, getting enough steps, eating healthy, drinking a lot of water, and going to bed at the right time. I don't feel like I have any gaps in my health right now or problems that peptides will magically solve because I haven't been educated on them yet. I don't really know whether or not they're safe. I know some are FDA approved, some are not FDA approved. I don't know which ones are experimental and which ones are proven. I don't really even know which ones to take. Again, I don't know my problem, so how the heck am I going to know which peptides to take? I don't know how often I should take them if I were to get them, and I don't know how long I should take them or when I should even expect to get results. So that's why I'm not taking peptides yet. I have not been properly educated on why I need them. And so if somebody walks up to me on the street and says, hey man, you want some peptides? I'm going to be like, no. If someone walked up to me on the street and tried to educate me on why I need the peptides, I might be a lot more willing to take a shot at getting on peptides. So no amount of just try it will work unless someone educates me on the problem first. Somebody could literally send me $1,000 or $2,000 worth of free peptides. If I have no education on them, I'm not going to take needles and stick them in my butt. Let's just be honest. So when it comes to building trust, you're probably trying to understand where to start. and exactly what you should do to build that trust up front so you don't have the issues that you're having right now, where prospects are super unaware, you haven't educated on their problem, they don't really trust that you can even solve their problem, and you want to know where should you actually start. Well, I got bad news. If you copy the famous guru's funnel, it's really not going to work for you. So if you go try to copy someone like Iman or someone like Brez Scales, you're really not going to get the same results as them. And so the reason I use these two examples is because Iman is a friend, I know him personally, and 1 million people have made these YouTube videos reviewing his sales calls. And they're like, Iman sucks at sales. He didn't even pause when this person said this, or he didn't even use advanced discovery tactics. And it's like, well, look, he doesn't have to do any of that stuff because people actually trust that Iman could solve their problems. You know, I was around when Iman had an agency, and I know that Iman had a highly esteemed agency. A lot of people don't know this. I think I shared it in the My Story video. I was one of Iman's agency clients. Funny enough, he helped me with my funnel in 2020 or 2021 or whenever that was. 2020, I guess, actually. And so I trusted him. I knew that he could solve my problems. When I got on a call with him, he pitched me. He used no advanced sales tactics. I'll be honest, as somebody who actually has been sold agency services by Iman, he didn't give a shit if I would have signed up or not, to be quite honest with you. He was just like, yeah, dude, here's what we can do. I'm sure we can help. You know, we crush it for other people. You know, we know the agency space. Here's how it works. It's XYZ. And I was like, cool. And I literally paid him immediately. He used no crazy sales tactics. He didn't build any pain with me. He didn't do any in-depth discovery because I trusted him. And you look at somebody like Brez Scales. I was actually looking at Brez Scales' website the other day. This is his website for his agency. And to be honest with you, I've seen some of his content. I don't know him personally. I can't vouch for him or say anything about him, but I can tell you that his website is not very good. Okay, we have a bunch of random case studies here, consistent back-to-back months for a client. We don't even know who this client is or what their name is. We can see their total sales. Are we able to see how much they spent on ads? How do we know that they didn't make 60K and spend 60K? He's showing this random screenshot of a Facebook Business Manager. This could literally be his Facebook Business Manager, for all we know. We don't really even know if that's for clients. We have no video testimonials. We have no VSL. We have an Apply Now, which is cool. We have some random brands that I've never even really heard of. This is not a good funnel. But the thing is, Brez Scales, because of his trust that he has built with his 1.2 million Instagram followers, does not need a good funnel. He does not need the type of funnel and the type of offer and the type of guarantee and the type of online presence that someone like you watching this video or like me when I was starting would have needed. Because these guys, again, they have years of content, they have millions of followers. Again, his funnel works because he already has trust. Now, are you going to go out and build a personal brand like these guys? Probably not, especially not from scratch. Because because these two guys specifically, they started their personal brands really after they had had success in business. So if you're just trying to get started, you really can't do what they did. You have to do what I did, is build a business brand. You need to build business brand trust. You cannot tell me who the CEO is right now of McDonald's, of Microsoft, or of Coca-Cola. Maybe you know that Steve Ballmer is the CEO of Microsoft. Maybe you know that. But for McDonald's and Coca-Cola, you definitely don't know. Nobody knows the CEO of these companies, but they have massive trust anyway. And this is exactly what I did and what you need to build as well inside of your niche. This is what I call market leader positioning. You see, when you can build a brand inside of your space that is synonymous with who you help, whether it's life insurance agents or real estate agents, when you can become synonymous in the space with that niche as a business, not as a person, you will always be able to get clients very, very easily. We reached a point with my agency where I never had a lot of followers online, or people didn't really know me when I ran my agency. I didn't post a lot on Instagram, and people would get on calls with me and say, hey, you're the guy from the ads. They didn't even know that I was the founder of the agency. They just said, hey, you're the guy in the ads. That's how little my face was tied to my agency, because I had built business brand trust, not necessarily this personal brand trust, which is very hard to build if you've never really built anything before. So you have to start with business brand trust, which is exactly what I did and what worked extremely well. And so how do you do this? You do this through your branding. You do this through your agency name. You do this through your website. You do this through your offer and your guarantee. And I know what you're thinking, okay? I hope you're not thinking this, but I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, well, that's going to take a lot of time. or that's a lot of work, or I'm not going to be able to do that instantly, even though with AI you kind of can. But this is why it works. You have to understand that the things that take a little bit more effort to do, or the things that take a little bit more sacrifice to do, are normally the highest leverage things because nobody else is willing to do them. So when you actually sit down for a day and think about, what am I going to call my agency? That doesn't sound like I started this in my mom's basement, even if you did, by the way. How are we going to brand this agency so we can look bigger than we actually are, so we look like a legitimate brand? How can I put a website or a funnel together? Not one that costs me thousands of dollars, but one that at least looks good enough to build trust. And then most importantly, if you're watching my videos and you haven't thought about offer and guarantee yet, then I am not doing my job. But all of these things build trust independent of you personally. Now, you've probably been screwed over by some guru out there who said, you don't need a website, or you don't need to think about your agency name, or you don't need nice branding in order to scale your agency. A lot of times they say that so you will have more money to spend on their coaching program, or so they can make the model seem more attractive and easier to get started with. And I'm just going to tell you right now, this is not an easy model to scale, okay? I think with AI coming around, a lot of people think you're going to sit on your couch and scale an agency. I will be the first person to tell you that is not going to happen. This is going to be difficult, but this is how you get the majority of the rewards. Because I focused on this stuff, and I focused on it when it was expensive and hard to do, by the way, so you have no excuse whatsoever. I spent thousands upon thousands of dollars on nice websites and logos and branding. Now it's much easier with AI, which we'll talk about in a second. But I did this when it took a lot of time and it was really hard, and not a lot of other people were doing it. And I think this was the reason why I was in coaching programs where other people would be working with real estate agents and have a very similar offer. And I'm over here blowing past 100K a month, doing way past 100K a month, and these guys are struggling to hit their first 10 or 20K a month. It's because I figured this piece out. I figured out at the end of the day, if people do not trust you, they will not buy from you. And a lot of these assets and resources build trust. That's why we're doing them in the first place. So what are the 5 trust builders, and how do you actually build this business brand trust that we're talking about? The type of trust that really makes any channel or niche work. Well, the first one is a good offer. Okay? Your offer is the absolute most important part. It's the foundation of everything that you do. If your offer is genuinely valuable, if the client gets a lot of value from working with you, that builds trust immediately. When you just state your offer and it sounds like a lot of value, it doesn't matter where you are, you could literally be out at the bar. If you just state your offer and it sounds like a lot and it sounds valuable, that's gonna build a ton of trust. You can explain like exactly who you help, what problem you solve, and how you solve it in one sentence. That is so much better than 90% of agency owners. You know, I've been doing one-on-one calls with people who are interested in working with me. And I'm telling you, man, like I want to slap some of these guys in the face, because I'll say like, hey, tell me a little bit about what your agency does. And 5 minutes later, they're finishing up, right? You should be able to, this is a good sign, this is a good litmus test of if you have a good offer or not. It should be able to be explained in 1 to 2 sentences. For me, as an example, it would be my 6-step system allows agency owners to scale to 100K a month in less time and effort than I was able to. As an example, that's just a quick riff. That's not maybe what I would say on the headline of a website, but that's an easy way of explaining it, right? Or we help real estate agents generate leads, follow up with the leads, and schedule appointments on their calendar so they can close more deals and spend less time on their business, as an example. That'd be a great way of explaining it. If you can't do that, you need to rethink your offer and what you're actually doing for clients. Again, outcome is clear and desirable. As an example for me, I work with agency owners to help them get to 100K a month. Clear and desirable outcome. And again, it solves a specific problem for a specific type of person in a specific way. That's normally the fundamentals for a good offer. So what problem did my agency solve? Well, real estate agents aren't closing enough deals. What specific person? Easy. Real estate agents. What specific way? Our agent automation system, which was our system that we built. That was really just a fancy way of saying we generate them leads, we do the follow-up with the leads for them, and we put appointments on their calendar. That's the agent automation system, as an example. So specific problem, specific person, specific way. That's a good offer. Now, number 2 is case studies, right? You can have lots of case studies across different clients, like a ton of case studies. You know, at one point with my agency, we had like hundreds. Or you have one really impressive, highly relevant case study. right? I think for me, at agency clients, we have a bunch of case studies. I have a bunch of people that I've worked with, guys like Yaya, who started at $5K a month, a measly $5K a month, and is doing $50 or $60K a month now. Guys like Robin, who started at $3K a month and scaled to $30K a month. I have a bunch of those guys, but I also have a pretty relevant case study in I closed 771 clients, collected over $5 million in cash with my own agency, right? That I personally started and scaled. So that's a highly relevant one. But obviously, you can have lots or you can have one really industry specific one. As an example, let's say you do like marketing for coaches. Well, if you get Tony Robbins as a case study, you probably don't need many more than just Tony Robbins. I mean, the guy is super well known. Everybody knows him. And so I'm not saying that you can't close clients without case studies, nor am I saying that the case studies really help you all that much, right? But I'm not saying that you can't close clients without case studies. Obviously, how do you get the case studies? Well, you got to close some clients. I'm also not saying that you should do any kind of free trials. I never did free trials. It's kind of a popular thing now for people to do free trials. But again, if people don't trust you, they won't even sign up for a free trial. If I don't trust you, I don't want anything from you. I don't trust you. I want you to get the fuck away from me, right? If we're being honest. And so that's the first profanity I've used in the video, but that's genuinely how people feel. If they don't trust you, they don't want anything from you. And case studies absolutely will help, but don't think case studies are the end all be all, and never, under any circumstance, think case studies are all that you need. A lot of people think, oh, I just have case studies. That means people want to sign up. No, you really need all of these things. And when all of these things come together, that's when you can really crush, okay? Next up is a monster guarantee, okay? If you have a big guarantee, it removes all your risk from the prospect and puts that risk on you, right? It shows them that you have skin in the game. This is a really good way to get your first initial group of clients and get some experience, get some practice. If you have a person that you're working with, an operator, everybody that I work with, I tell them to not do the service delivery and the fulfillment. Get an operator, let your operator run it with AI, or just have full AI running your service delivery. But again, you can have monster guarantees, especially if you get a good operator. I think that's something that's super important. Now look, if you're doing it the typical way that most people do it, where you do everything and then you service the client like a dumbass, let's just be straight up honest, you're a dumbass if you're doing it that way, and you need to work with me because I'm going to show you not to do it that way, because you're never going to scale doing everything yourself. That's another topic for another video. But if you get a good operator, you can actually have a solid guarantee, and that guarantee can allow you to build more trust with clients. Now, if you're running it yourself and you have no fucking idea what you're doing, well then newsflash, you probably can't offer a guarantee. So that's a big problem. And again, when you have a big guarantee, it makes saying yes feel like a no-brainer, because even if it doesn't work, they're protected. Ultimately, people are afraid of something not working out. When someone spends money on your service, they are more fearful of losing the money that they've invested than they are excited about the potential of gain. They are more nervous about losing the money that they've invested already than they are excited about making money with the system, right? So if it's a 10K investment and you say, hey, you're going to make 50K from this thing. Well, I'm going to tell you, they're more nervous about losing the 10 than they are making the 50. If they make the 50, they're going to be happy, of course, but the thing that seems more real to them is losing the 10. So this is why guarantees are important, because at the end of the day, if a person's downside is protected, then in their mind, there's really nothing to lose, because their biggest fear is losing their money. And if you can remove that fear, makes it a lot easier for them to say yes. The next one really is demonstrating understanding. Now I'm giving a lot of personal examples of my own business, but like a lot of times when people hop on these one-on-ones with AC, I'm not even doing like a crazy pitch. You talk to anyone that I've done a call with, and a lot of times it's just a free coaching call, right? It's like, hey dude, here's what you should do. This is what I would do if I were in your shoes. This is how it would look like if I helped you do it right now and did some of it for you. It's more just like a consultative approach. And I know a lot of people throughout the years have said consultative selling. Like, I actually do this, by the way. Don't book a call if you have no intention of working with me, by the way. But if you jump on a call with me, I'm going to do my best to help you, whether we work together or not. But point is, when someone sees that you understand their problem and that you have like a good way of solving it, they're going to be a lot more confident in working with you. So when you can show a prospect like, hey, I actually understand your specific situation, I understand your problems, I understand your entire industry, this builds massive trust. If you watch back a few videos on the channel, you'll see the one where I go through the sales call. You can see that even in that process, even though I'm not a realtor, never have been a realtor, I wanted to be a realtor at one point and was going to be a realtor, but I never got my license. You'll see that I had a very consultative approach. And when I dealt with that client, she could tell that I knew my shit when it came to being a real estate agent. And so I would highly recommend that you try to learn your niche and industry before taking calls in that industry to show that you actually understand your prospects and what they're going through. And when you can educate them on their problem and then give them the smartest possible solution, what you're doing is demonstrating expertise that makes them want to work with you specifically. So this is powerful because you can do this in every single interaction in your outreach and your content and your sales calls. And this is how you become a market leader, when you are understanding your clients' businesses better than even they do. And then, like we talked about already, business branding. I think this is extremely important. It helps you stand out. It makes you look different. This is the key that makes every single thing work better. The better you appear online, perception at the end of the day is reality. I understood this very early in my agency. I understood that the bigger we appeared online and the better we looked online, the more people were going to trust us. And so your business brand is what lets strangers consume all this. You know, your offer, your case study, your guarantee, your expertise, and actually believe it. You can have a great offer and you can have solid case studies, but if your website looks like you made it in an afternoon, your brand looks bad, your name sucks, prospects aren't going to get any trust out of it. You know, with our offer, agencyclients.com, that's our website. You want to go check out the website, you can look through it. You'll actually see that it probably looks a little different than the average coaching funnel that you've gone through. This is a little shitty ClickFunnels page. I don't know why I'm cursing so much in this video. I'm getting fired up, but one of those little shitty ClickFunnels pages with a crappy video and a couple random screenshots. When you go to agencyclients.com, it's a real website. It looks beautiful. We have great branding. We have a great name. You hear that name and first thing you wonder is like, dude, how much did John spend on agencyclients.com? And then you wonder like, well, dude, I obviously understand what this guy does. He helps me get clients with my agency, right? That is a good brand. Now you don't have to go out and spend as much money on it as I did, but it's something that it's least worth putting some thoughts into, right? I'm saying, don't just take your initials and then call it media. I'm sorry, Iman. You know, even if you saw a little bit of this video, you're not here. So I'm just saying, it's not JD Media anymore. It's not 2019 anymore. You have to brand yourself in a way that makes you look like an authority figure in your space. This is how ultimately you're going to be able to scale beyond yourself. And this is really the beautiful thing about building business branding is you're never the face. People don't always need to deal with you. People get super freaked out when I say, I never launched ads for a client, but I also never did check-ins with a client because the agency wasn't built around me. It was built around the brand that we had created with the agency. And that makes it ultimately a lot easier to scale and a lot easier to remove yourself from at the end of the day. So look, most agency owners have no clear offer. They have no case studies. They have no real guarantee. They're just pitching. They don't even understand anything about their prospects or their prospects' businesses. And their brand looks like it was thrown together in a day, even if it exists at all. And that's ultimately like a 0% on the trust building quiz. But when you have 5 out of 5 like I did, when your offer is really good, and when you've actually built a strong business brand trust, what happens is your offer and your brand literally becomes your outreach message. So think about it. If you have a clear, compelling offer that solves a real problem in a unique way, if you have strong case studies or proof, if you have a guarantee that removes all risk, and you can demonstrate that you understand your prospect better than them, and you can demonstrate that you understand your prospect better than anyone else on sales calls, and you have a business brand that lets interested prospects consume all of this stuff and become educated and more trusting in your business before they ever get on a call with you, you never really need fancy scripts again. And the best part is this means that any channel will work for you. And as you can see here, this is why 10 months from launching my site, we crossed $2 million per year. I wasn't using some secret script. I was leading with the best offer possible and a foundation of trust in the real estate niche. And this allowed me to beat all of my competitors because I put in work on this side of the business that nobody else thought to do. And because I did, I was able to reap all of the rewards. So here's what you actually need to build. We call it the trust building asset stack. So what do you actually need to build? You need to build the trust building asset stack. And again, this is not going to be easy, But the first thing you need to work on is your business brand assets. We start at the business level, right? I think a lot of people in this space get confused. Your business and your offer are two separate things. So you need a professional logo, not something that you just do it yourself on Canva. You need a memorable name. Actually think about this. Do not use AI. AI sucks at naming companies. You need a website that makes you look bigger than you really are right now. And you need crystal clear positioning. Number two is moving into the credibility assets. You need case studies. Like these are video testimonials from clients or written case studies, named testimonials with real people, real results. Do not fake these, by the way. It's actually illegal to fake these. You need press publications. I used to spend a couple $1,000 every quarter and I would get tons of articles online for my agency. And these would often get us 20 to 30x return on investment. And then you can use the as featured on logos on the website. And then you have offer assets, right? Clear, painful problem that you solve, clear guarantee that removes risk. You need your specific mechanism or your unique process of solving a problem, like why are you the best? And you need a VSL that educates interested prospects on all of this. And look, even if you don't have the capital or the experiences or the resources to build this, this needs to be what you aim towards building in as short of time span as possible, right? Even if you have to kind of throw together an offer, you have to put out a big guarantee or something like that, and you have to get your first 5 or 10 clients, just so you can get the cash to be able to reinvest back into doing this, I highly recommend that you do, okay? So when you hit your first 10K month as an example, please don't think that you're rich and go out and blow the 10K on a bunch of stupid stuff that you don't actually need. Take the 10K, invest it back into the business, or the 5K or whatever the amount is, invest it back into the business and build these things. Because when you build these things, it's going to make everything so much easier. You watch my sales calls. My sales calls are not crazy. They're not like objection jujitsu. I'm not wrestling with people in order to get them to sign up. Like when you watch the sales call that we have on YouTube, or you DM me the word Sales Vault on Instagram, by the way, Sales Vault. I'll send you 10 of my sales call recordings. You'll see that the calls are not crazy. Yes, I'm good at sales. Yes, I took 4,000 sales calls. But when you have a good funnel, and you have a good business brand, and you have a good offer and guarantee, it makes the entire sales process so much easier. Now, when I was competing against companies like Zillow, that is a multi-billion-dollar company, and another company called Bold Leads that raised a bunch of capital that was really beating the shit out of us for a while, I needed to look really legitimate. But the problem is, I had to pay tens of thousands of dollars in order to do so. This was our final version of our website. We spent like over 20K on this. This was custom designs, custom branding. We got a whole new logo package made. These guys in Australia made it. It was crazy fucking expensive. And now with AI, you can do the exact same thing as I did, but you don't have to spend $25,000 on doing it. You can do it at literally 1% of the cost. There is absolutely no excuse. And like I said, if you don't have case studies yet, that's totally fine. The case studies are not the entire equation. Like, don't go away from this video and think, oh, I don't have case studies, I can't do any of this stuff. It still is something that you need to think about and that you need to begin implementing. Even if you can't implement it all at once, you'll see that as you get these puzzle pieces in place, you will start to get much better results in your sales process. The reason that it's so important that you build trust now is because with AI handling the fulfillment, it's even more important that you watching this video are building trust with your prospects, even than it was for me. Because now it's the easiest that it's ever been to scale. Because if you've seen any of my content, what I have explained time and time and time again was the old bottleneck of the agency model for years has always been the fact that fulfillment is really hard to manage. But now with AI helping and handling the fulfillment, it's easier than ever to scale. And so the agencies that are ultimately going to win in 2026 and beyond is the ones that have their offer dialed in, that have trust in the marketplace, that look legitimate, and for these reasons can actually close strangers, not the ones that are chasing the latest outreach hack or jumping from niche to niche. So if you're serious and you want me to help you implement this, positioning is one of the first things that I work with my clients on. And I really believe it's one of the reasons that my clients and myself do as well as we do. Because at the end of the day, when your positioning is dialed in and people trust you, everything becomes easier. Now, some symptoms of this is if you feel like you're fighting to get calls booked, if you feel like when you get someone on a call, you're fighting in order to get them to sign up, if a lot of people are no-showing, it's a big problem people message me about all the time. People don't show up to my calls. It's because no one trusts you. So if you want to solve that problem and you're serious about solving that problem, or You want to start your agency and you want to do it in the right way. And you want me personally to build your offer out for you, map out exactly who you're targeting, what problem you're solving, how you're positioning it, and set up my personal 7-figure business branding and acquisition system so you can start booking calls and signing clients this week. Then all you need to do is go to agencyclients.com. You'll see this button here that says apply now. You'll fill out the short survey, and then you'll be able to schedule a call with me. Again, when you build trust with your prospects, they want to work with you, and it makes absolutely everything easier. And this is why this is one of the unique things that I focus on with my clients that a lot of people don't focus on or don't even know to focus on because they don't realize how important this actually is. When you have trust, everything becomes easier. And that's what I build personally when we work together at my one-on-one mentorship, agencyclients.com. So if you're interested in that, go below this video, apply now, and schedule a call with yours truly. I take all the calls. I want to get to know you a little better before I commit so much of myself to you, to be honest, and so much of my time to you. And I want to know that I can actually help you scale. And so if you're interested in that, click the link below, schedule a call, make sure you do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I'll see you in the next one. Love you lots. Hope this helped. Peace.